Mr. President, by now we are used to Donald Trump saying a lot of dishonorable, distasteful, and downright disgusting things. But there truly is no bottom when it comes to this president, as evident in the despicable comments he made about our fallen soldiers, as reported last week by The Atlantic, comments that have since been confirmed by additional reporting from Fox News, that is normally very supportive of the president, and the Associated Press. He called these heroes, these fallen soldiers, suckers and losers. Suckers and losers. The Atlantic reports that while traveling in Europe to commemorate the end of World War I back in November of 2018, President Trump canceled a scheduled visit to honor those buried at Armonne American Cemetery. He didn't understand why he should bother visiting such a cemetery in the first place. It's filled with losers, he said. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And it was on that same trip that President Trump referred to our Marines who died in battle at Belleau Wood as suckers for getting killed. Suckers for getting killed. Losers and suckers, Mr. President. Those words are hurtful words. They're damaging words. They're words that should never be spoken by a commander-in-chief. It's unthinkable, it's unforgivable, and I think it's un-American. The same story also recounts the president's visit to Arlington Cemetery with then Secretary of Homeland Security John Kelly, himself a Gold Star father, who lost his son Robert in 2010 in Afghanistan. There, standing over First Lieutenant Robert Kelly's grave, the President of the United States turned to his father and said, "I don't get it. What was in it for them? What was in it for them?" This question captures the very essence of what's so deeply wrong with this president. In other words, why would any American give their life in service to our country? Why would anyone do anything if not for fame or fortune? You see, Donald Trump cannot fathom the idea of serving a cause greater than yourself, because Donald Trump only serves himself. He cannot understand why anyone would choose to live a life of service, why anyone would risk it all to carry our flag on the battlefield. Why would anyone put their own life on the line to defend our country, our people, and all that we as Americans stand for? Since these despicable comments came to light, the White House has bent over backwards to deny them. But once again, too many of our Republican colleagues have stood silent instead of forcefully and unequivocally condemning the president's words. They would rather cower to the cruelty of Donald Trump than stand up for those who have worn the uniform of the United States. The sad truth is that none of us have to stretch our imaginations to picture President Trump calling our fallen soldiers suckers and losers, because he has repeatedly denigrated our men and women in uniform and the entire concept of military service. This is a man who, according to a New York Times investigation, had his wealthy father reportedly pay off a doctor in order to get a medical deferment from serving in Vietnam. A man who spoke out against disabled veterans selling goods on ritzy Fifth Avenue in New York City. A man who said that our late colleague, Senator John McCain, who I was privileged to work with on so many national security issues, was no war hero. No war hero. Not someone who should be praised, because he was caught a prisoner of war and resisted lowering U.S. flags in his honor. a man who has publicly attacked Gold Star families and failed to grasp the weight of their sacrifice. A man who, when asked about American soldiers injured, in the Iranian missile attack last January on al-Assad air base in Iraq, shrugged off traumatic brain injuries as nothing more than a mere headache. And most recently, a man who, as commander-in-chief, has done nothing, absolutely nothing, in response to revelations that the Kremlin was awarding bounties to Taliban terrorists for killing U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. The Kremlin, Russia, giving Taliban soldiers a bounty, a premium, a prize, a bonus for killing U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. What message does it send to the children of fallen soldiers when they read that the president called their parents losers and suckers? What message does it send to the young people I'll speak with this weekend, who I host an academy weekend with, who are considering applying to some of our nation's most prestigious military academies? What message does it send to adversaries like Vladimir Putin to learn that the President of the United States thinks that our servicemen and women on the ground in Afghanistan are suckers for being assassinated by Taliban terrorists? Mr. President, Article 2 of the Constitution does not give much instruction when it says that the President shall serve as Commander-in-Chief. And yet somehow, every president, until now, has carried out their responsibilities with a reverence for the men and women who serve our country and a sense of gratitude for those who give their lives in defense of our freedoms. So let me close with the words of a Gold Star mother from southern New Jersey. Camden County freeholder Melinda Kane's son, Marine Lance Corporal Jeremy Kane, died in Afghanistan more than a decade ago. She wrote, "I am nauseated to think that the commander-in-chief of our military would even think to disparage individuals like my son, who paid the ultimate sacrifice in service to every American. For the parents raising children whose fathers and mothers have given everything to this country, how do they explain President Trump's words? These brave Americans serve with honor, integrity, and heroism, doing the things that civilians could not and would not do. That said, here we are today in a place we never thought we would be, ensuring the world knows that those who serve our country are heroes. So today, I want to say to our servicemen and women, from the young recruit who just enlisted, to the soldier patrolling distant lands, to those who wore the uniform, to the loved ones of those who lost a loved one at war, you deserve an apology from your commander-in-chief. And because you're not likely to get one, I think it's important to say it here on the floor of the United States Senate. They are not suckers. You are not losers. You're heroes. Your families deserve our admiration and support for their sacrifices. And the American people will always value you for bravely bearing our country's cause, even when the President of the United States will not. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.